So, hey, everybody, welcome back to another interview for our interview series. Today's guest, we have Sarah Porcaro here. Now, Sarah Porcaro is a hypnotherapist using various techniques and strategies as a hypnotherapist. And I think what makes Sarah's story so interesting, she's not only a full-time hypnotherapist, but she's also a mother. So she's juggling motherhood, plus being a hypnotherapist, being an entrepreneur, and growing her business at a very rapid rate. So firstly, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
So you guys may remember Sarah from a couple of interviews we did back quite a while ago, but really today this is really diving into Sarah's story. But I pretty much went over to your Facebook page, Sarah. I looked through all your interviews, your testimonials, checked all those out. What's that like for you to see the results and get all those testimonials? What's that like?
It's incredible, Scott. Like it literally makes my day. It's just incredible to connect with the people and hear about their struggles in life, their pain points, and not just one area, but it impacts everything in their life. It impacts relationships, their jobs, their physical health, obviously their mental health. And to get those testimonials, get those messages. I just got one this morning. I kind of had a crap morning for other reasons. And then I got an email back about how amazing her life has changed. And now she's got all the tools to know that even though she's completed the program and we finished working together, moving forward, she has everything that she needs to get out of it very, very quickly. Whereas prior, she would just get stuck in it. And so it's incredible. It's those testimonials, those results that really just have me I love what I do, encourage and motivate me to even do more of it, even when sometimes things get hard.
Yeah. Did you think you'd be at this stage so early in your career getting results like this?
No.
Why not?
I remember taking a business course in college, and they said, most business owners, it takes 3 to 5 years. And then even if you ever make a profit in the first 3 to 5 years of your business, your business will fail. And it was like, oh, why would anyone want to go into business for themselves then? So it was always a fear, but I never ever imagined or dreamed that I would be here at all. And then it's so early on as well.
Yeah. So why become a therapist?
I needed it myself going through the things that I went through in life. And I've just always been passionate about it. I formerly was an educator and a teacher, and more than teaching kids, academics, mathematics, I really saw the disconnect from the emotional needs being met, or these unmet needs from childhood, and had no idea that I had them. I thought I had a great life, but I always just felt compelled to really understand more of the why. And I was always a questioner and a thinker growing up, and really wanted to become a therapist to help other people understand their whys too, and really move towards a better life, and be a guide, be an assistance in that, be a part of that. It just feels good.
What has surprised you most about helping other people?
The good or the bad?
Let's do both. Let's start with the bad. That's interesting. Good take on that.
So the bad, people will come to therapy, want therapy, put in the investment, the financial investment, and still find a way to be stuck in their problem, not to kind of like want you to just fix them without them putting any effort into it. And I always tell them, I want this for you, and I can help you attain or achieve this desired outcome that you've shared with me that you intend to receive. But I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. And there's those things that they know that they need to do logically, yet they won't do those things. And they'll still go back to these, but they'll still find excuses or ways to go back. And it's like, wow, even though they say, I know that when I do this, I get that. And that is certainly part of, the process, the journey to healing. But I think what has surprised me most when they've expressed that much pain and given, a financial and an emotional investment in this, they'll still go back towards that. And so
why do you think people do that?
Just from my background, my experience, I mean, the way that the mind works, the mind likes what's familiar and will avoid what's unfamiliar, because change is, hard, right? People will put that label that change is hard, even though they want to change. And then we say, here's what to do to change. Here's what to engage in. Here's the steps to take. And, obviously connecting and working together, we go through those steps together. Some of them I can guide them with our actual therapy sessions, and some are outside the session, the work that they need to put in as well. And then they don't do that work. And it's kind of like that, well, no one's watching, I'm just going to go do this, and then be surprised that they're not getting the results that they want. I do think it's part of the way that our mind works, even though it's painful, it's familiar. The fear of the unknown, of like, well, I don't know, I want that, but, and then they go back to those bad habits, even though that they don't want, so that's part of the journey. But I think a lot of it has to do with fear, and the mind, it will always gravitate towards what's familiar. And that's part of the process, is we're making the unfamiliar familiar, making the familiar unfamiliar, and that recircuiting, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So your love to help people now, did that start on, do you think, in an early age? Were you like that when you were younger, wanting to help people, caring for people, curious about people? Did that start early for you?
Always, yeah. I can't remember when it exactly started, but I always was observing people. I was very shy, very quiet as a child. I was always observing on the outside, kind of looking, navigating, in what I do in my area, my niche. I see that, that was a learned response kind of to experiences from childhood, but very much passive observer, and liked to learn to watch people, see what makes them tick, and then always felt bad when they expressed anger or frustration when things weren't good. I like when things are good, and so I think naturally I like to take things that are bad and make them better, make them good. But yeah, always started early on at a very young age.
So you were experiencing some sort of turmoil or something in your life that made you turn to therapy for yourself, yeah?
Correct, yeah. Ineffective therapy, but and I share this with my clients, we all, I think, naturally go along a similar journey. Oh, I have health insurance. Let me look it up and see who's covered, right? Or are you in network, out of network? And went that route and tried, more traditional forms that kind of help to have my feelings validated and talk to someone and get it out. But as far as life change and the ability to get out of the problem instead of just go to someone and talk about the problem, it was very different. But I tried things.
Yeah. As a business owner, what have you learned? Like, obviously, I think business teaches a lot about ourselves. How have you changed? I mean, I've known you for a long time now. I've seen the changes, but what have you noticed? Have other people say you've changed as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the coolest part is being a very shy child, a child who was always afraid to be in the spotlight, put myself out there, fear of judgment. What are other people going to think? Always kind of being on the outside and wanting to fit in and be on the inside. Never felt like I did. I do feel that shift, that confidence, that really knowing in myself, especially when things in life that happen that are out of your control. I feel more of a sense of, now I've got this. And even though I'm not at that desired outcome yet, I know that I just need to continue to be myself, stay focused in the right areas, put my energy and focus in the right areas. And it's always in my business, it's always in helping others, and everything will seem to work out. Whereas before, I would just worry, go crazy, like get enraged, get angry, and then just go down this black, dark hole. And now I notice it's kind of like a driving along the road, and it's like a bump, and it's like, ugh. But that's what I've noticed about myself now. And now, I know you mentioned this before, I am a mother, and I now get to practice those things myself with my daughter, and ask questions in a way that gets her to think, and not me planting that seed in her mind, but say, well, I wonder what it was that caused that, and get her to think. So I think it's had an overall effect. I'm more calm and more patient with those around me. And instead of trying to fix them or tell them, getting them to, well, take a look at this, and what's the impact that has.
Yeah.
So I think
is she at an age where she understands what you do?
She knows. It's quite funny, Scott.
How do you explain that to her?
She's got her own an old laptop and she'll grab her laptop and say, I'm in a meeting. And
she'll too, yeah.
She'll start tapping, she'll grab the headphones and say, I have a client.
I gotcha.
So it's really cute. She says, my mommy helps people. My mommy's a therapist.
Wow. What's that like?
It's really, it's cool. It feels really, really good, because I'm not a perfect mother, but I want her to know, first of all, to never hold on to your problems. So, to seek outside help, seek connection. I think we're wired to find connection. Mm-hmm. And so to seek connection, seek help with others and be open to it. A lot of times when people are struggling, they close down, they shut down. And that is part of it. Part of the journey is to open up. And so it's really cool to have her see that I'm a part of that and helping other people. She can tell, and I don't know how much she understands it, but when I pick her up from school and I'll say, hey, how was your day? Good, mommy, how was your day? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so great. I had a really, really nice call today with the client. And I'm just overall in a better mood. Yeah. And it just makes for a really good time when her and I have time together.
Yeah. How do your friends and families react? Because I know when I used to say I'm a hypnotherapist, it was like the stunned look of what on earth is that? What are they like when you explain it to them? And being a successful business owner as well, what's that like when you have to explain this to people?
Now it's gotten much better in the way that I describe what I do. And I get, whoa, that's really cool. Yeah. And you can see the wheels spinning. What do I need to work on? I wonder if she could help me with this. Yeah. And then it starts to generate a lot of curiosity, a lot of questions. Oh, well, I have a friend, sometimes if they don't want to, can you help me with this? I have a friend who I think they need to talk to you.
Yeah,
So now it generates a lot of curiosity, a lot of, intrigue, questioning of, maybe I need to take a look at myself. Either I haven't ever done anything about that. I just haven't known what to do about that. I thought it is the way it is. And you're telling me it doesn't have to be that way. So it's really cool. It's intriguing. It's a question that gets people to open up, ask more, and then really connect with you in a
Are they interested in personal development like you are, or have been, or as you're growing into it? Are they as interested, or is it totally foreign to them?
You know what I've noticed, particularly with my family, who was
against it.
We don't talk about things. I grew up in an environment, you were seen and not heard. Okay. Now they're opening up, and it's quite interesting because I know in the beginning, a very traditional family who, went to high school, went to college for your degree, and you did that degree, you got a job, you worked that job until you retired, your 401k, all
of life. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the box that I was in. I followed that same pattern, I went down that same road, and now I'm the first one in my family to step out and do something for myself. And I get to share, and actually they follow me on social media as well. And so they see, some of the ways that I'm able to help people and change their lives. And so they go, wow, Sarah, you're doing a really good job.
You're doing it. Yeah.
And I can tell that you are really passionate about what you do. I saw what this other person said about working with you. That's really cool. And so they're happy for me, and it gives us a way to connect in a way that I didn't feel we could connect before. So, and they're more open to it. I notice, some people in my family are reading books now about, and what do you think about this? And it's really cool.
Yeah. Now working with so many people, are you still changing as a person yourself? Like after you see a certain amount of clients, are you still noticing shifts in yourself and you're growing as well?
Yeah, definitely. And I realized a couple of things. The way that we're all connected, we all have a different experience, a different upbringing. I mean, there's almost 8 billion people on this planet, and we all have our own unique upbringing. Even if you look at a family where there's, siblings, and they grew up, say they did everything together, but they grow up and they're so different, they're so unique, that everyone has their own uniqueness and their own stories, but the underlying beliefs about ourselves are the same in the ways that they impact us. So the really cool thing is the way that we can work through them the same. So there's a lot of things, especially in the hypnotherapy, that's where it's very unique to them. But in the, exercises and the work that they do throughout independently, that is the same foundation, but different results. So it's very cool because then I even use the same tools and skills that I teach to my clients. So we have this incredible working relationship where I can relate to them and say, look, this is a previous experience that I went through. I was able to use this same tool and technique that I'm teaching you to use, and this is a result that I got. So yeah, and it's always changing and improving, and I'm always learning from my clients, okay, what they need, areas that they're getting stuck, and doing my own, continuing to always improve the results that I get from my clients. So it's amazing to be able to do that.
Yeah. What do you think made you different or unique to not want to do the 9-to-5 job and 9-to-5 life and all that stuff in comparison to your friends, family, and stuff like that?
I did it and it sucked.
Yeah.
I did it for a long time. I think this might be a backwards answer, but jealousy. I'm really jealous of. I always had this. I mean, I was a teacher, very creative, very artistic, but quiet, right? And I always was observing, and then I became jealous. As I got older, I was really jealous of a lot of the people around me who seemed to have those things I didn't have. And really what it was money, freedom, time. I wanted that stuff. And I knew that there was more inside of me. I just didn't know what it was or what to do with it. And so going through the 9-to-5 and having the micromanager boss over you and not hitting those falsified numbers and metrics, I thought there's got to be more than life than this. And then when I would get my paycheck,
right,
I was like, that's it. After 40 hours, sometimes overtime, I can't even pay my mortgage. Like there has to be more than this. And then, obviously social media became a thing, and you're looking at people's highlights reels, and I'm thinking, how can I get what they have? They seem to have money and go on vacation and have a nice car and have time, and they're not in an office all day. They seem to be going on hikes and be outside. And here I am stuck. It's a beautiful day and I'm stuck inside with this boss and not enough money to pay my bills. What do I need to do to get that? I was jealous and I wanted a piece of that pie.
Yeah. But now that you're in business, you understand what it really is, and it goes a lot deeper than most people think. How do you motivate yourself to keep going and be your own boss?
There are certainly days where I'm like, maybe I should go back to 9-to-5. And then I remember I can't sleep in. I've got to get up. My biggest why is having time with my daughter, having a flexible schedule and being there for her. And I know my parents did the best they could with what they had, but even through my therapy, my healing, I had to heal a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, and a lot of feeling like I wasn't good enough or worthy enough because they weren't there for me. But now, of course, I see they were in the way that they could, and I want to be there more for her. And it really is amazing when something is important and I can block off my schedule and I don't have to submit PTO or work. I was actually just talking to my mom about this, how in a paycheck, a 2-week time period, I would see my acquired PTO or sick days, and I would work 40 hours in 2 weeks, so 80 hours, and I would only get 3.68 hours off. And I'm like, okay, so I have to work an entire month and I can't even request 1 day off. So if I want a week vacation, I have to work like 3 or 4 months to get 1 week vacation. And I love now the flexibility in my schedule that I'm there to pick up my daughter, and I'm there, and I don't have to ask someone else, can I please have permission to live my life?
Yeah.
That's the why. And when it gets hard, I say, you know what? I can either be amazing at this or I can not. It's up to me. And that's the cool part is, well, if you don't want to put in the work, go back to 9-to-5 and have to work 4 months for 2 days off.
Yeah. How do you juggle though, being a entrepreneur, a business owner, a hypnotherapist, running the business, starting the business, being your own boss, tracking your expenses, tracking your pay, working with clients, how do you juggle that with being a full-time mom as well?
Daycare.
Yeah.
It's certainly about time management. It's about, I schedule in, I take a look at my schedule each month, and I block off. I start by blocking off my time with her.
Okay.
I do share time with her father. We're not together, so we share our time, and I do make it, I work weekends. So, I work the weekends that she's with her dad. I make myself available for clients who do work a 9 to 5 and have openings on the weekend. And so it's all about the time management. And, I've hired other help. I've hired, an accountant to do, and programs, of course, like QuickBooks and Acuity and some of that stuff that makes it easier. The systems that we talk about, that it's not so much. In the beginning, it was a lot of manual labor, and I was getting really burnt out. I was sending out all the emails to every client, and now things are automated. I put them in a program, and the emails get sent out automated. Accounting back-end stuff gets automated, scheduling's automated. That has made it so much more efficient. It wasn't like that in the beginning, though. And when I really started to feel like that burnout and overwhelm, I can't do this, I just realized, okay, we live in the 21st century. Like, this has to be easier. And so finding ways and programs to implement that would make my life much easier, and the life of my clients as well. If it's easier for me, it's easier for them. And then I constantly getting feedback for them. And generally, so far it's really good. And even the people who I was sending out things manually before have enrolled them in the automated program. And they're like, wow, this is really nice. I like this. So automating things, scheduling, blocking out time, and then, even on posting and stuff, sharing, there are things that you can set up automated. I do most of my posting and comments myself, but that way my time is with my clients for therapy, and then responding to comments and connecting. So it's really about, it's always centered around connecting, and all the other stuff where I'm not connecting, I've set up different programs and systems to make that more automated and easier.
That's awesome. When you were working 9 to 5 and you were looking at these business owners and getting that jealousy, like they've got things that I want, now you have it. Have your goals changed? Was it as exciting? Looking into it, was it as exciting as it is now? Or do you think it's got better?
I have a really big appreciation for people now, because obviously with a lot of things, we're seeing people's highlight reel, and we're seeing only what they're showing. We don't see the back end stuff. We don't.
Now you understand it.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, thankfully, I've got a website guy now, and him and their team are fantastic. And if I need something updated, hey, I've got this new testimonial, I don't need to go in. I just copy, screenshot, and send it off. So it is really nice to have the means to be able to do that and to make things easier. But at the same time, it's wearing so many hats. And I didn't see that in the beginning when I was jealous. I saw the one hat, the posed hat. I didn't see all the back end stuff. And now I realize, wow, these people are wearing a ton of hats. It's not 9 to 5. It's like, 8 to 8. It's longer days, actually.
Yeah.
So a difference.
Do you regret it, becoming your own boss?
No. No.
9 to 5 was that bad?
Yeah. I mean, there's sometimes I'm like, man, if my health insurance and I had a 401k, that stuff would be nice. But the freedom and the time, right? Especially, I think, being a parent when you are an entrepreneur as well, it goes by so fast. I look at pictures and I'm like, how has she grown up? And then I think, wow, she's 4 years old. I think I've only got 14 more years. And that goes by like that. And so, no, I think what I value most is time with her and connection, with her and people, and the ability to make a difference. And I know that I can make a bigger difference when I'm doing something I'm passionate about and happy about. And when it comes from here instead of here. And before, I was just in my head, I was so stressed, and that gets taken out on the people that you're closest to. So don't regret it at all. There's certainly days where I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
it's true. Like what we see on the reels and the photos, until you're in it, you never really understand how deep this thing goes. But it's such a weird trade-off. We don't want to work 9 to 5 because we're limited, but we realize we're working double hours in a business. But again, we have control. We've got time. Like I said, you've got family time as well. And sort of what I'm curious about, would you want your daughter to run a business? Like what type of inspiration? Where do you hope she goes when she grows older? Into a business, into 9 to 5? What do you think?
This is going to sound cheesy, but whatever makes her happy. I
No, I
know
like that.
some people like that. They like that, and that is what makes them thrive, is that structure, that support. That's the hard thing when you work for yourself. There's no one to pass it off to. You do it, or you find a way to get it done, or it doesn't get done. And it's
Yeah.
not, no one else is going to step in and get it done for you. And so it's on your to-do list until you do it. So whatever makes her happy, I want her to be in a place where she is living her purpose and her passion. And I feel that that's where I'm at now. And I just, it feels so good. I want her to be in whatever it is that makes her feel good. You know, if she likes that sense of structure, support. Sometimes it's lonely working for yourself because you don't go to a building and you have that, you know, people interaction. The interaction I have with people is different, and sometimes it's online. And to be quite frank, sometimes I get tired of looking at a screen. But I like that, you know, if I can be on my phone, you know, 8 o'clock at night and working, and I can take an hour off during the day, and I can go for a walk or kind of give myself time. Whereas before it was like, you can't do that. It's got to fit into the structure of this corporate schedule. So I like the flexibility of the schedule now, but I want her to be able to have that flexibility, freedom, and not feel that someone else is in her life. That's how I felt when I was corporate. Like, again, back to even just requesting time off or having an appointment, getting it approved by someone else, when it's like, hold on, it's my life. So I want her to know life doesn't happen inside of a box, but if she feels comfortable there, and is supported and loved there, then go do that.
I think that's awesome. Now you realize you're becoming, if not probably there now, you've become that person that you used to look up to, as far as like the status, the business owner. What do you think so fascinating for people to look at the entrepreneurs that are successful? What do you think intrigues them about these people?
I always used to look at them, and it's really weird to think about myself in that place now, but I used to look at them and go, wow, like it was just a celebrity status. If only I had what they had, if only I could do that. How do they do that, right? How do they get up here? How do they seem to have all these things? And I just used to look at them with very much like a celebrity status in awe, like they were on this pedestal. And I don't think about myself being on that pedestal now. I think because we always can be hardest on ourselves, and we see all of it. We see the highs, we see the lows, and other people just see the highs. But it's quite intriguing now to say that I'm up there, because I think there's always a continuum. You know, there's people up doing things that I still want to improve and grow and do. And then other people will say, Sarah, I don't know if you see it, but you're on your way there. And I go, what are you talking about?
I see it.
I see you doing that. You know, all these people that I used to be down here looking up here, and now I'm here looking up here. And they're like, Sarah, I see you there. And so I think we're always hardest on ourselves, but to have other people see that is very cool, you know, and it's humbling to always be in that space.
Being that you're on social media so much, do you feel like social media has had a negative or even a positive effect on like mental health in general?
Absolutely. Both. Like I said, I got social media. I got a client today who, my first video that I posted, the comment was, and it was interesting because I don't even know who it was, because you can have your own created name on social media, and there was no picture associated with it, but it was a very positive comment after a little bit of a bumpy start to my morning. And it said, doing the work with Sarah is absolutely worth it. She's amazing.
Wow.
And I went, oh, thanks. It's such a heart.
And makes your day better.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's some people who will get on there and make negative comments. The benefit, however, is it makes your skin thicker. In the beginning, it used to crush me, and I would cry. I would call up, and this person said that. And she's like, just delete it. Like, oh, I can do that. Delete.
Control.
You know, and right. And so there is positives and there's negatives, but I do like the ability to, like, we went back to that boss. Remember, you can just delete it and move on. And I think that also teaches others, especially other people are watching on social media and they're going to watch your reaction. Sometimes I'll leave it on there and just not engage, not respond, and other people will start to get on that person.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's not how she is. That's not what she's saying. What she's saying is this. And so I leave it because you kind of create this community of support, especially if that's your intention and other people. So it's quite interesting. If it does get really nasty, of course, I'll block it or delete it. But I do like the ability, and I have heard from other people who said, I really, really like, I love your videos. I love your message. I love your content. And sometimes I'll get private messages because they're not comfortable posting, it publicly, but they'll say, I know that you don't know me, but all of your videos really resonate. And even though we haven't worked together, you really opened up my eyes to this and helped me. I just wanted to say thank you. And that's the stuff that goes, whoa, especially on those hard days, or I don't want to post today, right? Or I want a laptop lifestyle and fly off to Fiji, and then you get stuff like that, and it's like, whoa, okay, even if you haven't worked one-on-one with them, they haven't become a client, you're still making a difference in their lives. So when you receive those messages through social media, it's just, fuel to the fire to continue going.
Yeah. How do you stop the negative comments and what it does to us, because it hurts us to an extent, no matter how thick your skin is? How do you stop that from leaving the business and taking that out on people around you that are close to you, like family and friends and your daughter and stuff like that? How do you maintain composure?
I exercise. So I'm big into yoga, and I know even if it's COVID has changed the ability to go. I used to go 3 or 4 times a week. I'll go for a run. I exercise. I will do, there's another therapist that does tapping videos. And so sometimes I scream it out. I scream it out, write it out, or share it out. I'll call someone and I'll go, can you believe this, right? Because sometimes you need a little positive affirmation from someone in your corner. Oh my gosh, they're stupid. Oh, yeah, that is stupid. Thank you. Or, scream it out, jog it out, write it out. Sometimes I'll journal it out, and just seeing it on paper, it's like, I'm not going to let this person take me from everything I've worked for, because some people see where I'm at now, but it took years, right? Years of the training to become a therapist, years of the, training to grow the business for one person's negative projections. And then when I realized, and it's quite interesting being a therapist, because you kind of train people. And so the way that you speak, they, when you need it, begin to speak that back to you.
Yeah.
And so even my mom will say, Sarah, that's just a projection. That's just how they feel about themselves. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
That's right. Yeah. I remember saying that as well. Yeah.
Like, thank you for telling me. Or I'll tell people something. I have a really good friend, and he'll say, so what's the impact that has on you? And he'll turn it around, and I say, well, it sucks, but you know what? I'm just going to get up. That's dumb.
Get on with it. Yeah.
And so you inevitably end up helping people help you. And then it's there when you need it. And so, but exercise, if it's really exercise, I think it's just good to move things out. And then talking to someone, writing about it. Or sometimes just taking a break. I won't check my phone for an hour. Sure. Instead of when I notice that lag and that lull of kind of, halfway doing stuff, and I notice, I will, change my state, right? And then take a break, come back to it.
Yeah. Now you're in a movement of women therapists, which I think is incredible, and starting to overcome that dominant male pressure of therapists and coaches, because it was like that for a long time. And you're really, the head of this, what you're doing in this industry and the success you're having, and, you're getting your name out there and becoming that person. What's that like to be a part of that movement? Because it's only been like this for a couple of years where women have really come to the front. I think it's incredible. What's that like?
I don't know, now that you say that. I haven't really thought about it like that, but you saying that, it's actually, listening to like the Milton Ericksons and all of the pioneers, right? Were predominantly men. And
Male,
yeah. And
aside from people like Virginia Satir, who talked about this as well, it was a very male-dominated industry. Do you see it as a positive thing that women are now stepping up to this and realizing, wow, we can actually help people too?
Yeah, and it's quite fascinating to be a part of that. I mean, society speaking, like women in the past were kind of put into that role of, get married, have babies, stay at home, raise the babies. And, a lot of my clients did that as well. And then, once that chapter of their life is over, then they say, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know what I like. I did all the things and here I am. I don't know myself. And so it is interesting, speaking back to like what I hope to teach my daughter is to know yourself and always stay on that track, and you can have it all. I used to believe that I couldn't have it all. I needed to go work and fit into that box, or I needed to be a mother and I needed to stay at home and do that. And so to be able to, to juggle both, I wouldn't say balance, because balance is like this, but it is a juggling act. Teaches others that if I can do it, you can do it. Right. And so it motivates and inspires them to even dream about it being possible. Because some just say, that's so far out there. But if they can look at you and say, wow, well, maybe, just maybe, if she can do it, at this scale, maybe if I could just do it at this scale. And then start to give them movement in that direction. So it's really cool to be a part of that, now that you've phrased it like that, to just motivate them to find what it is that you are passionate about and just put one foot in front of the other to get that.
Yeah. What do you think makes a good business owner or a good therapist even? What makes you so unique and so freaking amazing at this?
I think the ability to be humble and not say that, go out there and I'm perfect or I'm better than you. I think for me, that's a turnoff as of people who, and even back when I was going to traditional therapy, it was this person sitting back and.
Right. Yeah. The judgment place. Yeah.
I'm like, what are you writing down? What did you just write down? And there's these plaques and these, things on the wall behind them. And it was like, just the judgment and I don't want to I'm paying you good money. I had to work more than a full day pre-taxes to pay you just to judge me for an hour. So I think humility, I think being humble, I think the ability to connect with people, to meet them where they're at. You're not up here and they're down here, but you meet them and then you pull them up, right? You pull them up together so that it's not that like,
Yeah.
That's what I appreciate. And from feedback I've received from clients who said, Sarah, you're just a very real and you're very humble. And I like that I get to be in a position that honors that, that I'm not better than you just because I'm a therapist. It doesn't mean that I know more. I actually think the clients are the best therapists. They know more about themselves than I do. And my job is to open them up to making the connections to this, problem that they have today, help them remove and get rid of it. But not coming from a place of like, I'm going to put this label on you and you're going to be that label for the rest of your life. I don't know more about you than you know about yourself. And when people can feel that, it feels really good. And, I feel really good. They feel really good. So I think that's what makes it different.
Yeah. Who do you look up to?
I look up to all all of the pioneers, all the gurus, all the people who specifically it changes, because sometimes it will navigate and change with things that my clients are going through. Okay. And I say, wow, I want to know more about that, because I want to know, tell me more about, and as I learn more about how that's impacting them, I want to be able to, to go on that journey with them and explore that with them and continue to give them resources, access to things. And so it changes. There's different styles of therapy that even other therapists have said, I do this with my clients. And then as I look into that, I think, whoa, how cool, right? And it opens up to, I really believe in a holistic approach and, don't make my clients feel wrong if they have gone, a more traditional route in the past, with, let's say, medications or any certain things. And I think there's a place for everything, but there's lots of hypnotherapists, mostly in the realm of hypnotherapy and accessing the mind, body, spirit connection instead of just focusing on one, right? That would like be saying, oh, you want to lose 30 pounds, just eat spinach instead of bread. It's like, I look up to people who are about connecting the whole mind, body, spirit, and giving clients access to that themselves. So you're not sitting there going, well, this is what's wrong with you. This is all you need to do.
Yeah. Do you think there's still a propensity for people to look at alternative therapy and coaching and say, never going to work? Let's stick to the traditional medical model. Let's do the things that, normal other people are doing. Do you still find people are still hesitant to want to talk to you or get therapy?
I do. And it's interesting. A lot of that has to do with society. There are several modalities of therapy that have been around for a long time. Like we mentioned, they're covered by insurance. So financially, they're a smaller investment. And of course, money and time and money. So we think sometimes people just look at the price, and unfortunately, they are more hesitant to do something that will get them greater results if they see a greater financial investment, even though, because other people are like, well, just do this worked and it's only this price. And so I think they have to kind of go through that and unfortunately have the experience of that being ineffective before, and then inevitably they end up spending more, or family kind of talking them out of it. For example, one client that comes to mind, she reached out. Thankfully, we are working together and she's getting phenomenal results, but her parents actually scheduled a strategy call with me after she had already put the deposit down to work with me, and her parents just said, both mom and dad were on the phone. I was like, well, this is new. But that was a growing point as well. And I really like that I get to grow as well. And I got to share what I do from a different perspective, from someone who's not the client who's going to receive those immediate results. And because she was already bought in, but her parents were telling her, honey, it's just your hormones. Your hormones are way off. And I have this great doctor and she's regulated my hormones. And that's all you need to do is you need to go see this lady and she's going to get your hormones in check. Everything is going to be fine. You're going to be feeling a lot better. And so sometimes it's society, friends, family kind of telling you what to do. And then, of course, you feel like, well, maybe I should go do that. And even you have this desire to want to do something different. And that's generally the people I connect with. I've tried everything and I am looking for something that's different and I'm open to something that's different. And those are the people that I connect with. And it's a good fit. I tell them it's about timing. It's got to be a good fit. So when those two things are present, we get phenomenal results. But then sometimes they'll connect with you and then go talk to a spouse or family or friend. And they're like, wait, you're doing what? So I get some clients who say, I haven't told anyone what I'm doing. I haven't told anyone that I'm working with you. It's kind of like this secret, but they say, well, they're noticing things are different and they're changing. And they've asked me, something's different. What is it that you're doing? And I know that they're going to think I'm crazy if I tell them what I'm doing, or that it's an experience. They can't describe what's happened or what's changed, but I just feel different. I feel lighter. I feel less. So sometimes they want to share it with other people, but they don't even have the words to attach to how they've changed.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, looking back over your journey and what you've been through in such a short amount of time, would you change anything? Do you reckon you made some mistakes along the way?
Yeah. I personally, in the beginning, having a tighter client contract I think defining things clearly in there. I didn't know, and there have been some moments that really threw me off my pedestal. Really angry people, angry at themselves, but impacted and took it out on me in the form of questioning, making me question myself, who I was as a therapist in regards to, like, I'm just out to get money, and who do I think I am? Something that comes to mind specifically is somebody demeaning my work and telling me that what I did was a scam. And
Right.
even though we had already started, one client, we hadn't even started working together. We just had our initial consultation, agreed to work together, had scheduled, and then she had to reschedule. And I generally don't, but I said, okay, that's fine, because I block out my time and I value my time as well as the client. So it's not something that is okay for it to become a habit. But we're generous, and then wanted a refund. But this was after like 2 or 3 months of her not rescheduling, and then started bashing me on social media and different groups, and I had to block everything. I think one of them I reached out to you, so Scott, what do I do? And thankfully your advice is very, very nice. Just block and move forward. And that's what I did. It felt tough because it feels like that's my deficiency, but it absolutely wasn't. But tightening up the client contract, especially when it comes to rescheduling things, I think sometimes people start to feel so close to you because you know all about them, and without healthy boundaries as far as in your contract, as far as rescheduling, length of program, because I had some people to get off the boat, even though it kind of said that they stopped the program, and then they'll come back 6 months later and say, oh, hey, I'm ready to pick up again. Well, so
over time. Yeah.
So just some small things like that. But I think that you learn that as you go. But if I could have known anything in the beginning, it would have been to have those healthy those parameters in place, and say, look, and make that clear as well. Not be afraid to make it clear. Sometimes I was afraid to say certain things because I thought, oh, they're not going to like me if I say that. But that's absolutely not the case. They end up respecting you because you say it, and it is clear, and they say, okay.
What do you think is the most important thing you've learnt as a business owner?
That's tough. I think just keeping focused on my why I'm doing this,
Why are you doing this? Why is it so important?
Just those testimonials, those results, those emails, those messages I get. I mean, even talking to some people about them, I've connected with some people who literally, they won't tell me in the beginning, but I had one client who shared with me the night before I scheduled my call with you, I was going to end it. Like,
wow.
I did not want to be here anymore. And she's got 2 small kids, very, very toxic relationship, a lifelong trauma. And I didn't want to be here anymore. And you kept saying, if this is you, let's connect. If this is you, like, schedule a call, schedule a time for us to talk. And I thank God that I did, and she'll send me messages like a year later, Sarah, this is what's happening. And it didn't even come up as in our initial consultation, what you want your life to be like. Most people say, I just want to be happy. I just want to have peace. And a year later, she's starting her own business. And I'm like, whoa, go girl. Like, when they continue to share that even after you're done working together, their life continues to improve and they can do hard things, and that they're here and they feel like life is worth living, because I've been there and it's not a fun place to be. And, they still may be in a 9-to-5 job, but now they have this inner drive, this inner passion, this place within them that's full of love instead of hate for themselves and everyone else in their life. And they realize, wow, this is bigger It's bigger than me. It's impacting everyone around me. It impacts our children when we're, hopefully where you go before they do, but then they're left with that, and those seeds are planted. They continue. So really, just I don't know, big,
That's nice.
pageant answer for world peace.
What do you want the most for your clients?
I want them to get what they want. And most of them say they want to be happy. They want peace. They want happiness. They want to feel joy. They want to feel like just happy and that they are free from this problem. And that's what I want for them. But I tell them, it's not this magic wand and we're going to sprinkle fairy dust on you, because life happens. You're going to continue to drive down the road and go on that journey, and you're going to hit speed bumps. But when you hit that speed bump, you kind of go and you keep going. You don't like, which is
control. Yeah.
Before they have the ability, even when we're done working together, to continue on that same path, to continue to believe in themselves, to remove whatever it was that's blocking them from getting that. So that even without me, because the last thing I want to do in therapy is create a codependent relationship where every problem they have to come back to you, to give them the skills, to give them the tools, give them the belief that they've got this on their own and they can have anything they want in life because they just believe in themselves.
That's awesome. So for really, and we'll get to wrapping this interview up because incredible story. Like for anyone watching this, like who is your ideal client? So if they're watching this, they know that you're the right fit for them. Who do you work with?
It's amazing that you asked that, because in the beginning, when I first started my journey, I was meeting clients where I was at, and I had unfortunately a lot of experience getting out of really toxic, emotionally abusive relationships, and I realized I was emotionally abusing myself. And what that led to is maybe people who had that experience, but not just that last experience in life, but this whole life of growing up, not believing in themselves, not feeling that they were good enough, like we mentioned before, being that little child on the outside, looking in, wanting to be in, but afraid to get in, afraid of what other people would think about her, him, just as someone who lacked confidence, people who lack trust in themselves. And because of that, end up being people pleasers, end up being codependent, and really not trusting or believing in themselves in any realm or any area of their life. And it really leads to distorted thoughts, distorted negative thoughts that keep them spiraling down, keep them stuck. So it has shifted from not just being in really toxic relationships. All those things can lead. That's one road that can go down, but it can also lead down a road of being stuck in a 9-to-5 job, really wanting more for yourself, just like I did, but not even knowing where to start. And so it has shifted more towards seeing this holistic. I know that even if you had a good childhood, because that's what I say that I did, but I just know that something always feels off, something always, the burning desire for more, but not knowing what to do to get it. And just, so the client who's willing to do the work, ready and wanting to do the work to remove and change those negative thoughts, and not never have them, but be able to have more positive, more encouraging, more realistic thoughts, see themselves, actually look at themselves in the mirror and go, I've got this, and really believe it. Because sometimes people try positive mantras and affirmations and then they don't believe them. So someone who's kind of already doing that work, but it may feel like, oh, it's not really working, right? And maybe has done a lot of work themselves. Like in my case, I did get out of that bad relationship, but I still felt stuck.
Sure.
So,
yeah. And I think, for anyone watching this, I'll leave Sarah's contact details below in the video. But where's the best place for people to find you? Even just go look at your content. Where are you most active?
Everywhere, thankfully. Tons of YouTube videos I post on there, 3 or 4 times a week. I do post every day on TikTok, and that I've actually broadened. It used to be a lot about narcissistic abuse, toxic relationships, but now, that's kind of the center of the web, and it does lead to, depression, anxiety, social anxiety, even OCD, or, being ultra independent. Like, I don't need anybody. So it is broadening out, but I post on TikTok every day. Instagram is, my company's name is Rewrite Your Life, because that's really what happens is you get to rewrite your life. You get to change the ending. You get to have that ending that you want, despite what the beginning was like. So I really am on all of it every day. So social media would be Instagram, Facebook as well, my personal Facebook page, YouTube, TikTok.
So absolutely everywhere, as you can imagine. So really, for anyone watching this, I couldn't recommend Sarah enough. But hopefully this interview shows the humanity behind therapists and coaches. I know people are sometimes a little bit scared to want to talk to us, but you see the journey Sarah's been through. She's a mother, she's a business owner, she's had the ups and downs, and she's come out of it in a place where now she can help other people. So like I said, Sarah, we'll leave your links below, and even just with a chat with Sarah, she's a wealth of knowledge. I could not recommend her enough. But your story, incredible. Thank you so much for sharing it. I think it's important for us to get to know the people behind the businesses and the therapists, and to show that you're a real person. You're not a robot like some people might think. You're a real person who's had their own problems, and it shows you that even for people in our profession who are professionally understand the mind, life can still get in our way as well. But you'll see, especially through Sarah's story, how she's got around it. And also, even guys, just go check out her testimony. You'll see that she's working with real people who are getting mind-boggling results. I even get to look at them and think, wow, how the hell is she doing that? So she knows what she's doing. She is a real professional. But I cannot thank you enough, Sarah. That was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, for having me.